to it. All right. Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us again this week. This is Elizabeth and Jeff Beaudre, the owners of Tipple's Brews and Wines in Gainesville, Florida. We're going to have some fun tonight. I think maybe I'm looking to change hearts and minds. This is great white wine. This week, we're drinking the Arnaldo Caprai Grechetto. Grechetto is the grape. All right.
Okay.
So if you've not already done so, go ahead and pop that bottle open. And a great way to serve this guy is around 40 to 45 degrees in temperature, about a 1 hour chill in the refrigerator for this one. While I pour, if you pull up the slide, I would appreciate it.
Okay. I was just walking in 49 with Monty.
There you go.
It was cold.
Thank you for letting me reach across you there while you were working.
Okay.
All right. So James Suckling, 91 points. This guy is no stranger to 90 plus points ratings. Food pairings, one of my favorites, which is why it was the password. The password was scallops.
Oh, yes.
Well, you know me and scallops.
Definitely.
Intermittently.
So pumpkin stuffed pasta, which I've had once.
How long?
Absolutely fantastic.
A couple minutes? That's all right.
Parmesan crusted scallops. And then all of a sudden, like, what? Almond biscotti. Because it's a flexible wine.
Sounds great.
It's got a great combination of richness and freshness. So all right, so that covers the food, the pairings. If anybody had scallops with pumpkin stuffed pasta and didn't invite me over, then I'm going to be very upset. So, all right, let's jump back over and we'll look face to face as we get our initial thoughts on this guy. So, like I said, the varietal is Grechetto. All right, alcohol content 13%.
Okay.
So a little beefy, you know, for a white.
Normally we hear 12.5.
Right. Yep. So age worthy as we dig in, right? Not. All right. So it's a white. So normally, you know, with white, you're like, nope. You know, that's not going to be what it's about. And it really isn't about being age worthy with this so much, but it has nice acidity as well as a rich, good body and that 13% alcohol. I have had older Grechetto and I loved it.
Okay.
So it's not that it's not really made for it, but I'm going to tell you a 7-year-old version gets a little darker and a little richer. It's delicious.
Okay.
So
Good to know.
just a thought. All right. So let's get our initial impressions on here.
So one of my initial impressions is that it's very cold to be drinking this wine.
You know, next week it's going to be perfect. So I can't help it. You know, yes, occasionally we get cold, wet weather in Florida. It's very occasional, and it did line up with the white wine. But it had been like 4 or 5 weeks since we've done a white. So
It has been. I like the crisp freshness, and I mean, I like the taste of it. It's just I literally like 15 minutes ago came in from the cold. So yeah. So
one of the things I really like about this varietal is as you get there, it's got like a nice tart peach quality, like a white peach, right? Some tropical notes, almost a star fruit kind of thing, which I love. By the way, everyone buy a star fruit. I know I use star fruit when I go to like the combination, but here's what it is. It's like a combination of a pineapple and an apple is what that is. It's got a really beautiful pear-like quality to it.
Yeah, it does.
It has really pretty, like a white floral quality.
I really like the tartness.
One thing I like about this, especially as an Italian, has a tart freshness, and it's very fresh without being overly acidic and almost attackingly acidic, right?
Yeah, no,
this is still a really easy, delightful mouthful, but it will get you salivating in between sips.
Yeah.
So it's a great combination food wine, but it's also a great porch pounder. And there is a bit, now when I mention this, picture as you sip this, and as it warms up, you'll get more of this. Stewed pears, right? Stewed have that kind of little bit of a baking spice quality to it. as this warms up, and you have to imagine it, I know where it's going, which is why I can point it out now. But as it warms up and we're sipping on these glasses, think about stewed pears. And that's one of my favorite things. And that, as it ages, comes out more and more. And you get this wonderful stewed apple, stewed pear richness on the wine. So young, it's better with seafood, and later it's gonna be better with like a roast chicken.
Okay. So Jerry's saying it has like a petroleum smell to him.
Let me see. Because I'm not getting that, but
I'm not getting that.
I'm not getting
half an hour.
What's that?
An hour. If that has anything to do with it.
What does it cut off both times?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Well, it does cut off. Ours has been open 30 minutes or so, maybe that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm not getting the petroleum as much. I'm getting the peach now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not
I'd say
drinking it,
peach,
so.
orange blossom,
Love it. Yep.
any sort of like those kind of like white, like bloomy flowers that you can,
Jasmine.
not jasmine, but something like that, like, or like a dogwood or something, like one of those types of.
Right. It's kind of like a delicate white flower, and I like the citrus bloom as a combi, like say an orange blossom, pear blossom.
That pear tree though, and there are pear trees that grow in the South that have these beautiful white blossoms, and they look gorgeous and they smell like fish.
Yeah, they're not that pear tree.
Okay, not that one
for sure.
Yeah.
That one is disgusting.
Yeah, it is. It smells
looks
just
very
like
pretty.
fish. It looks
my
beautiful. It doesn't smell good.
We were walking around Auburn.
It
to
was
go
right
visit Reese.
there. They have some in Reese's apartment complex.
Right. And I thought, oh my God.
Somebody threw away fish.
Somebody
in the dumpster,
threw away fish
and
in
I
the
can smell
dumpster, and the
it.
whole neighborhood reeks. And it was the trees.
It's the trees.
Yeah. Not these pear trees. Thank God.
No.
Right. But a beautiful floral part. That is something you will sacrifice as it ages.
Okay. You
Right.
lose like the
You
floral.
lose the floral, and you lose a bit of the acidic edge. It darkens a little bit, but then you get much more of that spicy pear thing going on. So it has almost two lives to me. And this is why apricots, I love the call for apricots.
I was just gonna point
Absolutely.
that out. Apricots with floral bouquet.
Yeah.
Which one of you said that? Okay. Oh,
No,
both.
two of you. Okay.
Both the women,
Right.
Laura and Linda.
So let's talk about texture a little bit. We
Okay.
covered the other one. Texture. So it's got a heavy body on it, like a Chardonnay. Right. And I hate to say the C word. All right. But Chardonnay has a nice, heavy, weighty, feel on the mouth. And this does as well. It's not light and wispy. It's not feeling like it's evaporating.
Oh, no.
It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like water. Right. It's got a heavier body.
Yeah.
Obviously, no tannins. It's a white wine.
Right.
Right. So, and then I covered the aging part of it and what would change. So, all right, great. Let's jump back over to the slides.
Okay.
I'm already getting more spices. It's just warming up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming more of that. So let's look at the label. Label review. So
This is a unique grape, or does it have another name?
this is actually, which we'll get into the origin, comes from Greece
Okay.
originally.
Okay.
But it has a bunch of other names, but in the form of Italy will rename a grape with every single region. So there's no other major name.
Okay.
There are a lot of very little, but every other name is very obscure.
Okay.
So there's nothing else that you would go out and say, oh, if I see this on the label, it's the same. If you see it on the label and it's made it to the US, it's going to say
Grechetto.
Grechetto.
Grechetto?
Grechetto is the grape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grechetto is a reference to where it's being grown.
Oh, okay.
Okay, within.
But you
Umbria.
said this has a Greek origin. Do they still grow it in Greece? Is it called that?
No, it's not called that, and it
Okay.
looks like it's not. Now,
It's not grown there
look,
anymore.
if somebody finds out I'm wrong, fair enough. But I did a little research, and I couldn't see where it was still being used in
Okay.
Greece.
So
Great question.
Italy adopted it and went with it.
And went with
Okay.
it from there, right? So we get in here. They call it just a general white wine. That's because they basically this is grown in Umbria, within Italy, right in central Italy. It's
Okay.
literally central, which is my line from later on.
Okay.
But it's in the center of the country, but which
Okay.
way, both ways you
Longitude
go
and
for it.
latitude.
Right. 100% Grechetto. So this is not blended with anything. And so you look at it, it actually, so it's kind of a single area. So within Umbria, it has the sub-designations with Grecante. So this guy is a pretty specific location.
Okay. And what's that, the next line, the Cali Martini or Marciani?
That, and I couldn't find, their website was not very helpful.
Okay.
So I did the best I could.
If you like it, drink it. You don't need to know anything about it.
That kind of was the thing,
Okay,
right?
all right.
So I don't know if you read it in Italian, if it's got more information, because some of them you click on the EN for English
Sure.
and it changes the website. And I have a feeling sometimes we're missing things,
Sure.
but the bottom line is, all right, so what this guy is, you look at it and like, is it a little confusing? Yeah. All right. So since we're covering the label, right, it's not giving me like Arnaldo Caprai, that's who makes it, right? It's like really big letters, Grecante, but that's not the grape, so that's a little confusing, right? You see the Grechetto down there. And even it was like, okay, oh, that's where it's being grown. Okay. So there we go. So it can be a little confusing on this guy. I think that they could help people out a little bit more. But the bottom line is from a single area made by, it's controlled by the producer. It's made, it's the winemaker is the producer.
Okay.
So this guy is an estate controlled wine from a very specific area. So that would all lend itself to, you're going to get a sense of place.
Sure.
And a higher quality.
Wait, I have a question about this too. So this new green revolution, you pointed to that when you said distributor. I was assuming that meant it was like organic of some kind.
Oh, New Green Revolutions because they're sustainable.
Okay.
Yeah. The importer is actually, this is an importer of note, Wilson Daniels.
Okay.
The Wilson Daniels portfolio is one of the most prestigious in the world.
Ah,
But
so seeing that, if you knew,
if I saw Wilson Daniels on something, I feel better about it instantly. So that is one of those where if you were to take it beyond just learning about winemakers or regions to portfolio choices, if you see Wilson Daniels, it's some of the best wine. The Wilson Daniels line is so good that the peak of it is Domaine Romani Conti, which is usually the most expensive wine in the world.
oh, wow.
Every year. Yeah.
Wow. So
certainly
most expensive is because we had $1,000 bottle of wine in the store at one point.
Oh yeah, no, we're talking tens of thousands. These are the ones that were being falsified in the
oh, okay.
Yeah, and
right.
that wasn't Bottle Shock. That was gosh, what was that documentary called?
I can't remember, but yeah.
Sorry, I'm blanking on it. It's a major documentary, but anyway, yeah, that type of wine is what was being falsified.
Okay.
So it is Pinot Noir. So anyway.
Okay. Would you like me to advance?
To the next one, please. Okay, so the Grechetto grape. Origin is Greece.
Hold on. Sorry. I was trying to move the thing and it's not responding. It's going the complete wrong way.
There we go. All right. Medium skin provides solid resistance to mold and gives it resistance to drought. All right. So it's not thick skinned, but it's pretty robust. Has a smaller berry size, but pretty robust skin, which we're getting a lot of flavor in this guy. So whereas Pinot Grigio was kind of a thin skinned grape, and when it's grown without some real work on it, can just taste like lemon water.
Okay.
This guy clearly has a lot more going on. We've had plenty to discuss as a group about the different flavors we're getting.
So smaller grape, more intense flavor because of that size
and the thicker skins. So the combo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting, because I feel like most of the time when we talk about whites, we're not getting like any of the flavor from the skin, really. We're getting it from that different layer.
You're
getting some,
but
here we're getting more.
You're getting more. More for sure.
All right.
Longer ripening time allows intensity of flavors. So it's slow ripening. It needs to be able to resist that mold because it needs to be on the vine longer.
Okay.
Can be used as a dessert wine grape actually, because it can hang on that long without rotting.
Okay,
Um,
so then we end up with like more sugars and,
Right, so you end up
Okay.
with more sugars in there, because the riper it gets, the more sugar the sugar displaces acid as it goes up. It's a proportion. So it starts out highly acidic, low sugar,
Mhm.
and the riper and riper it gets,
Mhm.
you end up trading one for the
so
other.
you lose that tartness then?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm. And is very cold tolerant, so which is good because they're up in the mountains in the middle of Italy.
okay.
Let's go to some of the flavors. We're talking about white peach, honeydew, which we did not discuss, but absolutely I could see. Like,
Mhm.
let's say something and think, oh yeah, a melony quality, sure.
Yeah, when you were talking about star fruit,
Mhm.
that would have honeydew, that kind of melony flavor. I would get that.
Strawberry, I'm not. Maybe have you ever had a white strawberry?
No,
I have. It's I could
Okay.
see it for a white strawberry.
okay.
I'm not saying it would never happen. Obviously, with other
Mhm.
winemakers, it would, but with this one, I don't think we're getting the strawberry. Flowers, we discussed many,
Right,
so that's on point. Seashell would be a bit of a mineral, maybe a saline quality. Let's check it out.
Yeah, I actually mentioned it to her a minute ago that I was like, I feel like I get like a little bit like salinity, a little bit like slate and stuff like that. I kind of like threw out like 2 or 3 things, and I was like, I'm getting a lot of that, especially when you pair it with food. And then you went over to seashell, and I was like, that's exactly what it is.
There it is. Yeah, I actually, I totally get that. You know, it's a little
Yeah.
bit of a like a nice salty tart finish in
Mhm.
there, and it gives you a little bit of that like a lean, crisp kind
right. I feel like once it's pointed out, then I attend to it. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I do taste that.
That's
from it.
and that's the
Mhm.
thing. And people will say, and I get this, they're like, no, you're projecting.
Mhm.
I think it makes more sense to look at it like, oh yeah, okay, all right.
That's what I'm
thinking so. Yeah.
tasting. Right.
Right.
I think sometimes it's very hard to identify the different flavors in it. You know, what is it that I am tasting exactly? You know,
Mhm.
it's harder for
Well, and
some
we
of us than
eliminated
for
one.
others.
Well, I'm gonna say, I mean, you guys can. Well, the only part of the strawberry I would see could be in here, like I said, the white strawberry, or you know, when you have an underripe strawberry and the top of it is white.
Yeah, right before it gets to the green.
Right.
Mhm.
That to me, that's kind of that same thing with the honeydew melon. When you get to the rind,
Mhm.
that's more of what I get than
Okay.
the rich honeydew.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not getting like where it's the very first part that you're eating, like the really
Right.
sweet part.
Right. No,
To
not
me,
so
it's
much.
it's more, yeah,
Right.
closer to the rind.
Mhm. So let's look at the tasting product. Bone dry. Sure. This is dry wine.
Mhm.
No doubt. Medium to light body. I think this is all of medium to medium plus for a white
Mhm.
to me. Tannin, none, you know, medium high acidity, great, sure. You know, I'd call it like a medium acid. Yeah, maybe medium plus, certainly not a high acid wine. And then the alcohol's on the 3/4 high end. You know, we're up at 13. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Wine Folly, you're amazing. All right, so here we have a bit of a thicker skin, like certainly a powerful, more robust skin, especially for a white wine, combined with a really nice peripheral zone of flavors. And then there, you know, you get to the intermediate and central zone, obviously nice acidity as well. So it's kind of a balanced grape all the way throughout, rather than a lot of white grapes, which are really thin on the outside and more robust on the inside. This guy's got a balance, and that balance to me adds to a bigger body, bigger flavors, which I like a lot. You know, you see this guy, no oak on this guy, which, you know, none of us are talking about vanilla. We're not talking about
Right.
creaminess.
Right.
No oak on this guy.
Yeah, no, and that's what I like about it. It does not taste like a Chardonnay.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, it's not completely unlike unoaked Chardonnays.
Okay. You keep trying to get me there.
Hey, we've had you guys, everyone here, and I think everyone was here when we did it, when we had the Chablis, liked it.
Yes.
So you know you did.
So for me, though, like if I'm doing like when you've paired it with something that we're eating, then I can appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
and I like it now too, but if I'm going to buy a bottle, I'm going to reach for a red.
right. No,
Mhm.
I get that.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, Jeff just grimaces inwardly.
I understand. I do. But I'm really hoping that you guys are tasting this thinking, but this is really good.
No,
Like there
I
are
do.
whites
I
that
like
can
this.
surprise
And
me.
I could see this with like a citrus salad or something too.
Mhm.
You know, I would like it with that. But also for me, I would drink a red with a citrus salad or with cereal or, you know, with a donut or pizza
That's
or
fine.
steak or,
Right.
you know, all the things
Right.
I'm supposed to drink it with, but also,
All right.
but no, but I could see this like enhancing the flavors of other things. But I
Right.
also really could see it, like you said, porch pounder
Mhm.
earlier, like laying out. I don't want to drink a red when I'm like laying outside. I mean, right now, but
Yeah,
red would be great.
right,
But
yeah,
in the
because being in a
summer,
hot tub, right.
no, in summer, you're laying out, you want to have some wine with it. This would be great.
Hmm.
And I like it now too. I'm just
Right.
saying I can imagine myself really thinking, okay, I don't want a red in this situation, which is unusual for me.
Yeah, I get
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
That's good. By the way, now that mine's warmed up, we probably moved from the mid 40s up to the mid 50s degrees now.
Mhm.
On the finish now, I'm getting a bit of an herbiness. You know, maybe green herbs like a tarragon kind of thing. Maybe a little parsley. It's like
I
it's
feel
just kind
I'm
of like a
getting it on the
greenness.
nose
Yeah.
some too.
Yeah.
Now that it's warmed up.
And-
Still didn't get the petrol, but
No.
yeah.
But I think one of the cool things about this, so I think whether or not we're talking about floral and this and that, there's a lot to talk about with this white. It is
Mhm.
not a linear,
Yeah.
simple. It's got complexity and it's got a lot that it can work with.
Mhm.
Like if you had a dill chicken sausage, which is not one of the recommendations really, but you could totally, this could handle
Sure.
that. Yeah.
Sure.
This one could probably handle some pork dishes. All right. So where in the world are we? We are in right in the middle here,
Yeah.
right in the middle.
Well, that's like the
Central
bottom of the boot,
Italy
isn't it?
is
It's hard to see because it's light yellow in the
here's boat.
shaded.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's right here. So right in the middle of the growing latitude in the northern hemisphere. So in the middle of the middle of the middle. So here we have Italy. We're here.
Okay.
So it's just south of Tuscany. Where and they are connected. There is some Sangiovese grown in here because they're all connected. Though that is not the most exciting grape within that area.
What's the most exciting grape within that?
So I will talk about that in just a
Okay.
moment. Good question. So here we are. This is where this winery is. This winery is in Montefalco. So Montefalco, what is it known for? Because a lot of this is Sangiovese for the red. This is where Sangrantino comes from. And you guys remember, we just drank that wonderful Californian Sangrantino a couple weeks ago.
Was that the Guglielmo?
Yeah, the Guglielmo.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is where that grape originated, was
Okay.
here.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So
I like this map.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's designating the area as well. I like it.
So Sangrantino is their big red. They actually, Trebbiano has traditionally been their big white, but they're finding a lot more people are enjoying Grechetto. And so Trebbiano is kind of struggling for popularity
Have
right
we had
now.
a Trebbiano?
No,
Okay.
we'll have one.
What is that compared to, like, what are the notes compared to this?
It's a lot more tart. It's a lot more kind of that traditional, very
Okay.
tart thing. And you really want it with food.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those kind of like when we had the Chianti Classico, where I kept saying, you really want this with food.
So you can have this with sushi, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because what I'm
absolutely.
imagining, you know, the sushi rolls that have the piece of mango in it?
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah,
that would be fantastic.
That.
Well, I was talking about that with Jake today. I was saying
Mhm.
this wine with something like something with like a mango chutney on top or something would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be really good. But mostly, let's not forget the scallops. All right, this is very important. All right. So wine production within Umbria started in pre-Roman times. So they've been there for a long time.
Really?
Yeah. They've been and baby and these grapes have been there since then. They've been working with them that whole time. Well, certainly Sagrantino, which is indigenous. So the but during the 60s and the 70s, 1960s, 1970s, after all that time, and it's something that Italy's still struggling with to this day, but especially then, they had a really good economy and things were booming in Italy in the 60s and the 70s. And so many people left the rural areas to all go to the cities for work that almost the entire area, especially of Montefalco, was abandoned.
Oh,
There was almost
That's
no
awful.
wine production at all. It was just fallow
Jeez.
because there was no one left to work it. And then they began, thankfully, to come back and reclaim this area. And head over here, Umbria varieties in this day and age. So you see, Sangi is still huge. Trebbiano here. This is Grechetto. I know we can't see it, but I think they can see it.
yeah,
So-
they can. They don't see our
so-
toolbar.
and then you see Merlot. They're making some really nice blends with Sangi, Merlot, and Sagrantino. Sagrantino is the hot grape right now.
So you think it's going to start taking more?
I think so. I think you're
Yeah.
going to see this change during the next 20 years because, well, I told you, it's got the qualities where it is arguable. It is the healthiest wine in the world as far
Oh,
as,
right.
yeah,
right.
anti-inflammation and, anyway, antioxidant properties. So,
It's interesting how small the cab is because I mean, as Americans, like California grows a lot of cab,
Right.
that's what we hear.
oh,
but-
Cab's the #1 red in the world.
Right.
Mhm.
So, but it's interesting how small it
Right.
is
Well,
compared to the
And
rest.
their Cab is a blending grape, just like Merlot.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're blending it with Sangi, they're blending it with Merlot or Sangi Merlot, or they're blending it with Sagrantino.
Okay.
Sagrantino Cab is a no-brainer to me. That should be taken
I
over
like
the
how
world.
it's called a cab here and it's called a cab in the US and it's called a cab. Like,
Oh,
could we
well-
just call the grape that is the grape the same thing everywhere, please?
I will say there is one thing about Italy,
Okay.
not everywhere,
Mhm.
but semi-regularly
Mhm.
in Italy, you will see things listed as Cabernet. And we have a wine in the store called Cabernet.
Okay.
It's from Tuscany,
Uh-huh.
called Cabernet. It's like, well, what is it? Well, it's a blend of Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon. It's
Okay.
Cabernet,
Uh-huh.
but they will use it. And sometimes they will just call it Cabernet if it's only Cabernet Franc
Mhm.
or only Cabernet Sauvignon. So sometimes in Italy, and I haven't seen this anywhere else, they'll just say Cabernet and leave it. And
Okay.
you're like, okay, you need to help me
So
out.
is that
Because-
is it normally a blend of the two then?
As far as I've seen,
Okay.
but not necessarily so. I do know it can be
Okay.
just one or the other and called just Cabernet. But, I mean, I'm gonna tell you,
Every
Cabernet
time you
Franc.
say Cabernet and don't say anything else, I just hear life is a Cabernet instead of Cabaret. But I keep hearing that in my head.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, I could see Pinot Gris would be a really nice, and see, that makes sense. So Pinot Gris
Mhm,
is the same grape as Pinot Grigio,
mhm.
but you have this nice high altitude. It's normally that version of it is grown in cooler areas. So they've got the higher altitude, they can grow it there. Because that would be an excellent, tends to have a honeydew quality as well. It could be a really good blending grape with Grechetto.
Sure. Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
I feels like they would complement one another well.
I agree.
Wait, can you
Nope.
go back?
Sure.
The Montepulciano
Montepulciano, yeah.
and the Verdelho,
Mhm.
what kinds are they? White? Are they red? Are they
A Montepulciano's red,
Mhm.
Verdelho's white.
Okay.
So, and Montepulciano is a grape we need to do.
Oh,
It's
okay.
actually one of Julie's favorites.
All
Yes.
right. So
Yeah. So
once her household is over COVID.
yes, once they're done with the vid, then we'll she'll be back and we'll do a Montepulciano.
Okay.
A really nice one. Really nice. What other one would I do here?
Right.
Here's a mediocre one. Good luck, guys.
We bring that chicken fat wine in.
Yeah, right.
We'll try that one. Kool-Aid and chicken fat.
So here we are, obviously you're up in the mountains, so you're dealing with a
Mhm.
lot of rolling hills and classically dry soils with high,
But rolling
draining
hills,
volume.
not like terraced here. So,
Right.
mhm.
So by the way, all of these pictures we're going to see that are of this location
Mhm.
are all this winery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like there were
Okay.
so many pictures of just this winery. I was like,
Mhm.
well, I'm just going to do that for all of my Umbria pictures as well, because that's what we're dealing with. So here they are again. That is the winery there,
That is a gorgeous shot.
right?
Mhm.
It's beautiful. And so here we are coming up to the winery itself. So among the first in the area, Arnaldo Caprai winery was among the first of the families to revive the area.
Okay.
Established, but by the way, they were among the first to revive the area. Established 1990.
That's crazy. You said it's been around since before the Romans.
Right.
In that area.
In that area.
So over 2,000 years ago.
Right.
And
then all of a sudden from
And
70
then-
something.
yeah, nobody was there in the 60s and 70s. And it took like 25, 30 years.
Yeah. And then they came back. So
Yes.
yeah, they were among the first families. Marco Caprai started this in 1990. This is the 30th anniversary. Well, last year was the 30th anniversary.
Okay.
So still family owned.
Good for
So
them.
classic location, classic grape varietals. I'm going to assume some of their single vineyard stuff, they found some of the original vines, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
a lot of sustainable and innovative practices. So they combine the two, which is not the first time we've heard that with
Mhm.
somebody that went back in there and said, okay, classic, amazing area, but we're starting in 1990. We're not going to do baskets and all these
Right.
old presses, and we're going to use modern technology.
Mhm.
And so they use not just modern technology in the winemaking, but also in the wine growing. And so you end up getting these wonderful, wines that really step up and have incredible flavor, well made, but not crazy pricey either, because they're able to have efficiencies,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So anyway, that is the story of Arnaldo Caprai and the region in the grape. So I'm going to jump back out and then we'll talk
Okay.
about. All right. So that's the story, guys. What do you guys think about this wine? Start thinking about ratings, because I'm about to do my
Mhm.
spiel on that. But anything you guys want to verbalize before we get into the ratings? Did this surprise any of you? And you guys thinking, wow, that was a delightful wine. Oh, look at it. Would you like more?
Mhm.
I do think it's a nice food wine. It's one of those things that sounds like a backhanded compliment when you describe something as nice. It's like, oh, I brought significant other over, and their parents are like, well, she's nice. I'm like, well, what is that supposed to mean? But like it's just a nice wine. Like there's nothing like, I don't think there's anything like super crazy about it. It's just a very nice food wine, very drinkable. Yeah, I don't know, like kind of straight down the middle. Like it's just nice.
Right.
I do like that it is nice. I agree with you that I do like that it has changed from when we first opened it. I liked it the first open, but I do like the evolution, like you, as it's warmed up.
Good.
And I like the different notes that I tasted from then to now. And like I say with whites every time, I would like to have it with food. Like they said that it was a nice food pairing wine,
Right.
which we don't often get to have during this.
That's true, but it'll go well with what we're going to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're doing like a what'd you call it? A chicken burrito.
I actually
thing.
made it up. So it's like chicken and peppers and onions and tacos. It's good.
Yeah.
It's like a chicken
It's
taco.
a bit of like
type
it's a
thing.
bit of a Mexican chicken dish
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
it'll be really good with this.
Yeah.
This can definitely stand up to it.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
No, I'm really looking forward to that.
All right. So let's jump over.
Wait, Jerry's. Wait, Jerry, you
We
turned
had,
yourself off. There
We
go.
had shrimp tacos tonight and that went with it quite well. I thought I would have to agree with what's been said. I think it's very drinkable. There's some whites that are just okay and some whites you really have to struggle to finish. I think this one's fine. It would be good on a nice warm summer day.
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
that's
see,
what
I
I'm
love that.
saying,
It's
too.
it's super flexible because you can porch pound it.
Mhm,
You can pair it with your food. I
mhm.
think even better pairing it with your food, but it's entirely enjoyable by itself.
Yeah.
But it still has complexity. It's not enjoyable in the form of, well, it was giggle water that tasted tart. Okay, and then you move on. It's got something to it.
It does. Yeah.
And honestly, the more I have the fresher ones, the newer ones, because they can really hang out because here this guy's an 18
So it's
and we're
been
in
4
2022.
years.
So
Mhm.
it's probably 3 really because we just started 22, but
We did, but I always wonder, when was it bottled in 2018? Was it bottled in December?
well, let's see.
Because
the
it's-
vintage is 18. It would have been bottled in 19
Oh,
because they would have picked it in the fall.
Okay.
Then they are fermenting it.
okay.
By the time they get done with all that and bottle it, you're beginning of 19.
But you count it from when it was picked,
Right. Yeah. That's the vintage. was
because that's
18.
when the grapes stopped maturing.
Right.
So it was picked. I don't know what their growing season is, but I'm
Same as
assuming
ours.
same as Florida's.
Well, the same as like what you would expect in the United States. So that
Because I would expect them to pick it in October, but maybe I'm wrong.
right. No, but just generalize March to October, like that would be their growing season.
So when's their picking season?
Right. October.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah. So then,
So
they'll-
I was right. October.
yeah, exactly what you're
Okay,
saying. I was saying
all right.
what you're saying is right.
Well, you said March to October, so that was kind of a big range. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's when they're growing it. They're going
And
to
then
pick
they're
it around
picking it.
October.
Okay.
I mean, it could be a September pick.
So it's just under 3.5 years then. if
Right.
It's okay.
But
Right.
you could grab one of these and like I said, I found an older one
Mhm.
and I loved it. I thought it was so good. So
See, and when you say like age, you said what, 7 to how long?
7
did you
years
say?
plus,
7
I would
years-
say.
7 years
I
plus.
certainly shouldn't go beyond 10, but
Okay.
because it's definitely going to begin to change and oxidize, gets darker in color, but I think it pulls out some really delicious flavors in it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Any
All right.
last comments or questions?
The only last thing I wanted to say is I agree with Jerry. I was like, shrimp taco sounds like it'd be great with this. I
yeah.
think shrimp tacos and Elizabeth, I think you mentioned sushi earlier. I was like,
Mhm.
this would be a good sushi one.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, you're totally right.
Mhm.
And honestly, when I say that, when I talk about the aged one,
Mhm.
it's not like that's something it's just fun. It was an outlier. Like this is the way to enjoy
Well,
it.
because
Yeah.
normally you don't hear, okay, you could age it with a white.
Right.
Like,
I mean, you
drink it
can.
now.
It depends on if you like the style. Like I've had, and not with cheap Sauv Blanc, but I've had aged
Mhm.
high-end Sauv Blanc. We're
Mhm.
talking, $40+ Sauv Blanc
Mhm.
that aged well beyond where it should have.
Okay.
And I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So, but it was definitely beyond what you would expect to drink it in. It was
Absolutely.
not in its zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Actually, sushi sounds really good. We should have that this weekend. We can
we
have
should.
another bottle of this. We can have some sushi.
Sounds like
Sounds
a date.
good. We haven't had sushi in a while, so.
That's true. It's
Okay.
fine.
Now that you guys know what we're eating this weekend,
That's right. And I'm off this weekend.
you are.
That's right.
Mhm.
All right. So this guy gets 90 plus points. An outstanding wine is a regular assessment on this. So it could be a very good wine. Special qualities, nothing wrong with that. Never hate on a wine for being an 88 is what I always say. That's a very good wine. Even a good solid, well-made wine shouldn't be something, but I'm going to tell you, most people would see an 84 and freak out and not want to touch it. And people hide 84s. If they put it
If
up
they
there
get
and
an
they get an
84,
84,
they
they don't promote it. Unless it's an extremely inexpensive wine. So anyway, so this guy we're talking about regularly assessed as outstanding from the critics, but that does not matter a hell of beans if you don't care for it. So what do you guys think?
Yep. Again, drink what you like.
Yep.
So Chris said 88, 89. It's very good. I don't know if it's outstanding in any particular category. Any other ratings? 90 from both the Hogsets? Okay. 92 from Linda and Laura.
Nice.
Okay. And John, does he have a rating? Brenda, 90.
Nice.
John has left the building.
That's right. No, it's too late. No one cares what you have to say, John.
You've walked away too much. I'm sorry. John agrees with 92.
Nice. Loving it.
Then I was waiting to see if Consuelo or Cheryl put in a rating. So our range is 88 to 92. So the average is 90
Right.
on that as far as straight range.
Are you sure?
No, because I haven't put in actually all the 90s and stuff. So,
I'm
but
just,
if I just take the range of it and average the two.
I'm just messing with the math
So
teacher. Yeah.
91 from Consuelo.
Nice.
And actually, I would have agreed with Consuelo. Exactly, 91.
91.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you got, everyone liked it, which is great. That makes me happy. Yeah, I think it's a delicious wine. It's one that obviously white is not my favorite either. You know, like I prefer reds, I do. But I certainly like white more than the average red wine drinker.
Sure.
And this is one that is one of my go-tos. It's a combination of complexity, easy to like, but it's also versatility. So I would give this guy at least a 91. Yeah, I give him 91. Yeah, I like it a lot. This one's
Do you
great.
agree with me?
Yes. Hey, that means you're right this time.
Thanks.
Yeah. Maybe it probably means I'm right this time.
No, with wine, I defer to you.
Yeah.
There you go. That's your wine and beer.
Well, we're
There you
covering
go.
nothing but wine and beer in the household from now on. Every time we start up a subject, but we need to discuss
Wine and beer.
this wine
'cause
and beer.
Yeah, that's where you get to be right. Okay, so we're gonna
Okay.
thank our sources.
Let's thank our sources, because without them, we'd have no discussion.
We'd have a discussion, just no visuals.
No, that's true.
Okay, and Cheryl said a 90.
Oh, good.
So
There we go.
right in the
Thank
same
you,
range
Cheryl.
with everyone else. Okay.
Excellent. All right. So Wine Folly, which I know I mentioned during it, but they're an outstanding resource. I recommend anytime you guys happen to be doing something, if you're not waiting for me to cover it for you, go to Wine Folly. They're fantastic. 750.com. That's one of the major sources that I buy from. Wikipedia is always helpful. And of course, the winery itself. So
Yeah, and you said that there were really a lot of images from that winery. So
it
that's
was
great.
Yeah. Yeah. They were very helpful with that.
Not so much the information, but you can look at it.
Right. Yeah, like I barely got any information about the history. I was like, come on, guys, give me something here. So, all right.
Next
week's
you ready to reveal
wine.
yourself to everyone?
Oh, yes. I'm going to expose.
Okay.
All right, here we go. You guys have been with me for a while now. We've been traveling around the world doing some really cool things, some weird things, and I hope some delicious things. It's time for a California hug, right? We're going to Napa Valley next week. Chapelet Mountain Cuvée Red Blend. We are doing the mountains rather than the valley
Okay.
of Napa. Ratings: Willy Wong 92, Wine Enthusiast 90, Food Pairings, Beef Wellington, prosciutto wrapped asparagus, bacon wrapped barbecue shrimp. It is very versatile.
Yeah, because I was going to say prosciutto is so much lighter. I would have expected that to be with more with white than with the red. Is that not right?
No, it is right at
Okay.
times, and it
Okay.
could go with this.
Okay,
But this
yeah.
red is really versatile. It's
Okay.
different. It's
Okay.
yeah. And then venison with mushroom duxelle.
I missed that downtown restaurant where we used to get the venison. I
Mhm.
can't remember the name of it. It closed a while ago.
Every time the Sovereign.
Sovereign. Used to love the venison.
Missed the
at
Sovereign.
It was really
They were
good.
fantastic.
Yep.
So anyway,
That's really dating us. It's been closed for a hot minute now.
yeah, that's
Yep.
true.
Yeah.
But anyway, so hope you guys will come back. We'll talk about mountain fruit. I think you will notice a difference versus, say, the Tre Leone, which was valley fruit.
Mhm.
And so I think it'll be fun and super delicious, and also an easy win. I think it's one of those where no one's going to complain about that.
It's,
Yeah.
we're going to do this next week. It's going to shoot up to the 80s. We're
Yeah,
going to be drinking the red.
Oh, yeah, by the way, it is going to be warmer next week. It's going to be up in the 70s. And the lows are only in like the high 40s.
I mean, it's okay. 70s are cold for me still. So
So there you go. Anyway, I hope you guys will join
After
us.
Sunday morning.
it's going to be what?
After Sunday morning at 24, the current forecast. Anything will be.
Oh, yeah. The weekend is going to be brutal, but then
Ooh.
next week will be
Yeah.
beautiful.
Reese was thinking of going on, well, his friends were going up to, some of his friends were going up to northern Georgia this past weekend. And then he saw the low was 15 and they were going camping. He's like, I will skip that one.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of people ended up skipping that one.
Good.
15.
I was worried about them.
The last time he did that, I was praying that he would come back with all his fingers and toes. So
Anyway, I'm glad you guys joined us and enjoyed this. We will, I think the next time we come back, we'll do one of Julie's favorite wines with the red.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so-
yeah.
And yeah, and
California
actually
red blend.
these guys, the Sagrantino, because we all loved it so much.
Mhm.
The Californian is like
Is it similar to it?
well, these are almost all out of stock.
Okay.
We're dealing with COVID supply chain issues, especially from international stuff.
Mhm.
But the thing is, the Sagrantino from these guys is all in the 50s
Okay.
on the price point. So, which I'm not saying it's not worth it, but
Mhm.
we usually try to hit mid 30s.
Right,
You know,
right.
so we'll see what we can do about that. But
Okay.
anyway, no worries. All right, guys,
Cheers, everyone.
let's have a nice toast to the Arnaldo Caprai Grechetto.